Welcome to Gear Shift, a podcast dedicated to all aspects of vehicle ownership with your hosts, Christoph and Casper. What was that? What was that? That's a new car. Wow. Well, we'll get into that in a second. Welcome to Gear Shift, everyone. If you're coming back for not your first time, it's good to have you back again. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. It's good to have you joining us. I am Christoph. I'm usually always joined by my good friend Casper, but he is not here today. We are doing a solo, a one-on-one session, and I have a special guest host here this week. I have the one, the only Ryan Mindler.
Hey, what's going on?
So it's going to be, this is our military episode. This is episode 11, and Ryan, you were in the Army.
Yes, sir.
And I can Army, and you can too. So we were both in the Army. So we're both Army vets that did a tour in Afghanistan. So this is our military episode, and so it's gonna be an interesting one. There's a ton to talk about. So we'll try not to go too long on it, but
be here the rest of the night.
Yeah, exactly. So before we get into that, we got the usual shit we got to dive into. We get some PMCS that we have to take care of before going out on the mission.
Yeah.
So first up, we got a sponsor. You know them, you love them. If you don't love them, then you don't know them, and you should. It's the Bearded Detailer. The Bearded Detailer is located in Center Valley, Pennsylvania. It is your best choice for automotive detailing solutions. Anything from a wash to a wax to a polish to ceramic coatings. Also, available on his store online, the Swag Store. You can get cleaning supplies, OEM maintenance parts, some performance parts, some Laminex films. He is an authorized OptiCoat and Laminex installer. 570-205-0255 or thebeardeddetailer.com. And while you're in that Swag Store, you can use the promo code GEARSHIFT to get yourself a nice 10% off your order. Everyone loves a discount. Do you love discounts?
Discount double check.
I don't think we can legally say that. Oh. Where's the producer in this one? Jesus.
I say what I want.
We have a
rogue combat veteran.
We have a rogue guest over here. So that's the sponsor out of the way here. First up, you all heard it. We have a new vehicle in the intro. So the VR6 is gone. And we have, next up, we have another vehicle in our intro. So this is going to be the same car for the next, the remainder of our episodes up till episode 20. And you got to guess it. We're changing up the rules a little bit from last time. So instead of guessing the model and the engine and being first come, first serve, we are going to do a random draw for everyone who guesses it. And you have to guess the engine. There's no trickery with this car. It's a factory option car and engine, so don't have to worry about that. Guess the engine. Go to thebeardeddetailer.com/gearshift to submit your answer. You can also email us at gearshiftpodcast@gmail.com or all of our social media outlets as well too. And of course, our usual rules apply. You have to be 18 years or older to participate. You cannot participate if you've already won in the last 30 days. Blah, 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 blah. So you have to the 20th episode, and that's when we're going to announce the winner. And yeah, so that's that. Next up on the checklist of items to go through, we are going to talk about Wookiees in the Woods. We are going to be there. That is April. I don't have my calendar in front of me. I did. We are going to be down there from April 5th to the morning of April 9th. So 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 of April down in North Carolina at Fontana Village Resort. We'll be driving up and down Tail of the Dragon, US 129. And we want to interview you. We know a lot of our guests here that listen to us will be going to this event, and some of the people who are going to the event might be listening to us. So we would like to interview you. Quick little 10-minute segments, just who you are, where you're from, did you drive there, what car do you have, and how many years you've been coming to the event. And I did manage to secure an interview with the one and only Abe, the man who's been the meat and potatoes of putting together Wookiees in the Woods every year since its inception, one of the key players. So we have a lot to talk to him about. So I did manage to get an interview with him, so that'll be good. And our Wookiees in the Woods episode actually will air not the morning after. It'll actually air April 17th. That'll be episode 14. So there's going to be one in between that. So okay, so that's Wookiees in the Woods. Got that out of the way. I'm trying to think if we have anything else here. I went over the contest, went over the sponsor, went over Wookiees.
I think you're in the clear.
I don't think I have anything else to talk about. I mean, I can always find something to talk about, but
Yes, you can.
yeah, I know I can. All right, so we're enjoying some Strike Force energy, and it's funny that this is our military episode because this is a veteran-owned company too. They are owned by a Navy SEAL, Sean Matson. This stuff is fantastic. If you like energy drinks and you hate sugar, this is an awesome option. It comes in little tin packs, so there's no powder. It's not a syrup. It's a liquid. And once you put it in water, your water still looks like water. There's no color to it, which is nice. Come in different flavors, but they also have a big 750 milliliter bottle, which is what we're using. A little pump bottle, a little squirt.
I'm here to pump you up.
Just squirt it in, and it's good. No sugar in it, no calories. I don't think calories. Fuck it. There's no sugar though, and it tastes great. And there's
phenomenal.
There's no jitters. There's no crashing from it. I love this stuff. That's what we're drinking. So cheers.
Wonderful.
We're so weird. All right, so let's dive into this here. Ryan, I want to thank you for being on the show. So
hey, thank you.
This is really cool. All of our guest hosts that come on here, we always start out for the first time on here is telling us a little bit about themselves, a quick little elevator pitch. Do you like long walks on the beach? Do you like poetry? Do you like Chiantis? Or do you like Chardonnays? No, tell us a little.
Well, I like pina coladas. And I like dancing in the rain.
There you go. That's all we need to know. The show's over, folks. Go home. No, let us know about how you got into automotive, anything automotive, cars, trucks, whatever. Let us know a little bit about yourself.
Well, it all started when I was younger. My dad had cars. He had trucks, clean them. I was always into helping him clean them. I got older. I got into cars. I followed after, I believe it was my cousin Dan. He had a Volkswagen.
Heimbach.
Yeah. He had an 04.5 Volkswagen GLI. It was a Blue Lagoon, and I was absolutely in love with it. And after that day,
great color.
That's when I decided I was going to throw my money into cars.
and what have you had? You've had a couple over the years.
I think I started out with a 9070 Eclipse, and I thought that thing was the cat's ass. I thought it was Pimp Daddy driving that thing.
Is that a V6 or is that the?
It was a four-cylinder.
Okay.
It was a little 5-speed. And then I got a Mark V GLI, and that's where I blew all my money.
that's when things started to go downhill.
Yeah.
and why is that?
Mainly because I liked to buy things that I didn't need for it.
Common problem.
Sets of wheels. I went from having lowering springs, and I didn't even put them on the car because I was like, they're not going to go low enough for me. So I did coilovers, and then after coilovers, I had air ride.
Well, because we all know you're not cool unless you're stupid low.
Yes.
Yeah. That's not true.
It is not, because I don't have that car anymore.
Yeah, but you're not cool either.
Hey,
Well, all right. So you had the GLI. Yeah, I know we did coilovers on that.
And the air ride.
And the air suspension on that.
and the Mercedes wheels.
And then you had rotiform. You had 3SDM. You went that whole scene, kid scene.
15.52.
They weren't rotiform.
I had rotiforms.
Oh, you did.
And I had snowflakes, and I had.
Did you have snowflakes?
Yeah, they were red.
You didn't have them on for very long then.
No.
I don't remember them.
I sold them. Well, I traded. And
You never put them on, I thought you...
No, I did.
Oh, you
I
did?
had them on. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my bad. Well...
They were red. Like, kind of how the Alfreds were. But
you had Alfreds too.
Yeah.
Fucking hate those wheels.
That's my first set.
So you... and then you ditched the car.
Yep.
And you went for...
I got a truck.
And you have...
A Ford F-150.
What year?
2014.
America. Sweet America. And why did you get out of the car?
I just was over it. I didn't want the car anymore. I wasn't in the car scene anymore. I was losing interest, really.
Was it that car that did it, like that specific car and the stuff you had done to it, or do you think eventually any car you had, you would have switched from a car to... do you think it would be any car, like if you would have had to stock anything, you would have eventually got out of it for a truck?
I think so. That's probably most likely.
Okay, and that's just because your upbringing has been trucks and... Okay, well, fair enough. So we can all thank Dan.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dan.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Fucking Dan. Dan is an avid listener to the show. He really is. Yeah, he listens to it in the car on his way to and from work. So that's cool. I think he splits it up into, he listens to half of it on the way in and half on the way out, I think, which is kind of cool. Well, we go long, unless you have a long car ride, you can't really get it in the one sitting. But
I think he drives pretty far.
Knowing Dan, probably. He has a Mark 6 GLI. I sold it to him back when I was actually selling cars. So, and
I know he wants to get into a truck too.
I know. I think he talked about Toyota, didn't he?
Yeah, he was talking about a Toyota, and I know
Tundra or Tacoma.
No, Tacoma.
Tacoma. I don't mind them. I really don't. I don't mind them.
No, they're nice. They're a nice little truck
for what they are. I would have a hard time going between a Toyota and a Ford for me for having a truck. But this isn't the truck episode, so we're not going to go down that road. That's next week. That's a whole nother episode. But I can also thank Dan for introducing you to me.
Yep.
When was that? Was that 2013?
Yes.
13.
It was right when I got my car. It was summer 2013.
Okay. Now, since this is the military episode.
Because that's when I got out of the military.
Yeah, okay. See, we're going to tie this back in together. So let's, I don't know if you want to start or if I want to start. Pretty much, let's start with you. Why did you join the Army?
I joined the Army. I actually signed the contract when I was in high school.
Same.
I signed it because I knew at that time I did not want to go to college. So the military was another option for me.
Right.
That when I got out of the military or while I was in the military, I could do school.
It gives you an option.
Yes.
And I think that's a very important to decipher to people because I've heard it so many times. I think the stereotype's slowly going away, but I know the stereotype was there that, you don't know what you want to do with your life. Why don't you just go be in the military? You don't want to go to college? Fine, join the military.
Exactly.
It's not the case. Are there people who do that?
Yep.
Sure. I mean, I did it. You said you didn't want to go, so you joined the military. But the military gives some fantastic options for you. You have the option to be in and go to school, or go to school once you're out.
Yep.
Especially if you're National Guard, you can still do your college and go to drill on the weekends, which is what I ended up doing. Mm-hmm. And so you joined active duty, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And what was your job? What was your MOS?
I was an 88 Mike. Pretty much truck driver.
I drive trucks.
I drive that big old truck.
Yeah. That's so. Where'd you go to basic at?
I went to basic at Fort Benning in Georgia.
Fort Benning, Georgia, and job training
in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Okay, so you had your split, which was what? What was basic? Was basic 9 weeks?
I was there for 10 weeks.
Basic.
Yeah, and then AIT, the advanced individual training it was about, I think it was 8 weeks long.
Okay, so it sounds like you and I were probably there for the same amount of time. I forget how long tanker training was, but
I know I was gone. I was gone from the middle of June till like November.
That's about me. I was end of June or beginning of July.
So I was in Georgia.
Same thing, yeah.
I was in Georgia throughout the whole summer. It was a beautiful 110 degrees.
Nice, smooth and creamy. Okay, so that was your job training. So you were an 88 Mike, and one thing I think is very important too with a lot of people that don't understand the military is technically you are infantry first.
Yeah.
Now, anyone whose job in the military is infantry will get butthurt over that statement.
Yes, they will.
Because they think infantry is the best. And whatever.
Because everybody's a bunch of pogues.
Yeah. If you're not infantry, you're a pogue, which is person other than grunt. And a grunt is infantry. So it sucks. Like this whole episode, it's going to have to be deciphering and acronyms and stuff like that, which is fine.
Some people know. Some people don't.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, no matter what your job is, you can be military intelligence, but everyone has to go through the same basic training.
Yep.
So you go through rifle marksmanship. You go through everything is exactly the same until that 9th week. Once you're done with the basic half, then you go into your job training. So at the end of the day, you can be military intelligence or a computer analyst, and then all of a sudden, oh, by the way, we need people. You are now a rifleman.
Yep.
You are now, and I know the Marines' big thing is every Marine's a rifleman first. That's their thing that they say a lot. But at the end of the day, it's true because prime example is I was a tanker, 19 kilo, which is an Abrams armor tank crew member. And we got sent to Afghanistan not as tanks. So they don't care. It doesn't matter what your job training is. Your basic skills get put first. So 88 Mike, what did your job training entail? What was?
We learned different trucks, really.
What kind of? And I'm gonna stop for a second and say, like, when I first thought about doing a military episode, I'm like, that'd be cool. We just talk about Army stuff. Mm-hmm. But then I thought, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. There's actually some cool freaking vehicles in the military.
Yeah.
Period. So and
I've driven them.
Yeah, and I've driven some too. So okay. Go. What type of trucks were involved?
Well, they did 3 different trucks, and they started you out at like the beginner truck, which is the deuce and a half.
The deuce and a half is the beginner.
Yeah, it's no biggie, nothing crazy.
Right.
And then after that, you do like 2 weeks of that.
Which a deuce and a half, to clarify, is. It's not that's a 2.5 ton, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not a big truck, but it's bigger than a civilian truck.
Yes.
And then they will move you on to the LHS, which is the load handling system. I believe that's what they call it. I don't know. It's a big truck.
You're supposed to know.
Whatever. It's been a while. All I know is that LHS.
We're veterans now. We don't have to know this stuff.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah. And it also, one thing I like about having you on here is when did you join?
In 2010.
And I joined in 2003. So the difference between when I was in and when you were in, so much changed.
Yeah.
As far as vehicles, just talking vehicles, so much changed. Different models that came out that replaced other things, except for the Humvee. That has stayed the same for a long time, since Desert Storm.
Yeah.
Basics. So everyone knows the Humvee. Humvee has been a loved vehicle forever, unless you've ever used it. So you have the non-armored ones, and then you had up armor.
Yeah.
Typically
which are
up
dogs.
And because the armor weighs a ton. Now, armor has gotten thinner as the years go on. I know during even my deployment alone, when we started, the first trucks we got, they had the old style doors that were massive. You needed 2 hands to shut it. Yeah. They had a weird latch system to get it on open and closed. Yeah. You couldn't open the windows almost at all. The windows were like 9 inches thick. So, and then by the time we left, we had very flat door. They were flat. They weren't bulky at all. The windows were still thick because ballistic glass has only advanced so much in technology. So they're like 3 inches?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, and we had air conditioning that worked by the time we left.
Oh.
It's nice.
Did you know it would work? It would work?
In the States.
Yeah, but...
In Pennsylvania in the wintertime.
No, I'm saying it'll work. There's like a switch under the hood that if you turn it on for, it's wintertime, you want to turn it on the heat.
Really?
It'll be warmer, but like the AC will still work. It just won't be as cold. But when it's summer, you got to turn that switch back.
No one ever told me about that.
I never knew that until I was like, why the hell isn't my AC blowing so cold?
We just, and you know what? That could have been our problem. We just chalked it up with, oh, these are old trucks. They're just pieces of shit. That's all. Maybe it was that. Mm-hmm. Fuck. But we had brand new ones by the time we had they were less than 100 miles on them by the time we got them. By the time we left, they were nice, man. Power turret. I didn't have to physically move it by hand anymore. So the power turrets it was a joystick. Yeah, that's all it was. Yeah. It was awesome. So then we had the first gen MRAP, like I mentioned, which they were okay, but the MRAP was, what does it stand for? It stands for Mine Resistant Ambush Protected Vehicle. MRAP. That's what it stands for. And
That's
the reason why they're
mine up to though.
Well, they do their job.
Yeah.
And the reason why they're mine resistant, they have the V bottom.
Some do.
That was the original design to it because that's what they wanted. They wanted if a IED goes off or an improvised explosive device, it deflects the explosion as opposed to taking it as a flat hit. So yeah, I'm even looking at pictures right now. They definitely changed, but you had variations. I feel like you had the Buffalo, which was a version of it.
Yeah. There's a couple different versions.
Yeah, but they're typically either 4 to 6 wheel big trucks. Essentially, I don't even know what motor, but they were so new when they came out to us. We didn't even have mechanics for it. We weren't supposed to touch them.
Well, they're internationals
now.
Yeah.
Now,
but the one I had was an international, so I'm sure it had probably a Cummins in it.
They didn't have any. We were told they were different from the Humvees, and that not just any mechanic had to work. They had to send a specialist out, and our mechanics were like, "Fuck this, we'll just figure it out. we're not going to wait. Oh, can't use it. We got to go on a mission. We can't use that one though.
Wait till the special guy comes out.
Yeah, and they got to fly him out, and I think how many people they held? 6.
Yeah.
Hold up to 6, 4 in the back.
4 in the back, 2 in the front.
Well, 7 in the gunner. So yeah. That was nice to be able to haul around dignitaries and stuff like that. We had we hauled around the governor of Zabul province a couple times, which is nice. So we had MRAPs, the Buffalo, the LMTVs. There were another trucks, which they replaced the Deuce and a Half, I think.
Yeah,
they were 2.5 ton trucks. They were just a newer version of it. They were a cab over as well too.
Yeah, that's what I drove.
Yeah, okay. They were cool. You didn't need a special license for that. Well, you don't need a special. Well, no, you do have licenses in the military.
You have to. You go and get certified to drive on it. Which
I had my bus
license.
Class. I had my school bus license. I did.
We had the Mat V's.
What are the Mat V's?
They're badass.
It's actually MATV.
Yeah, we call them Mat V.
Mat, yeah. Oh, that is kind of cool.
Yeah, they were nasty. They straight piped. They were loud.
Wow.
And they can go anywhere you want them to go.
But they're not hauling people. They're what? 4 people?
They're 4 people.
Yeah, I see. Okay, I see the 4 doors there. Okay. I think it looks like there might have been a 2-door version. No, they're all 4-door.
No, they're all 4 doors.
That's kind of cool.
But that's what we had.
And then what else is there? We didn't have anything else. We had some Gators, John Deere Gators.
Yeah.
We used those for like the medevacs, putting people on the back of them, stretchers on the back and whatnot. And then there was some. Who were they? We had some special forces guys.
But we had special forces guys that had 4-wheelers and side by sides and shit.
Dirt bikes.
Yeah.
I forget. They weren't U.S. special forces though. I forget who they were.
They'd have like a 249 freaking saw mounted to the front of a 4-wheeler.
An eagle mount on a goddamn on a 4-wheeler.
Nuts.
Or a dirt bike. Yeah, we talked to them one time. They would roll with one pickup truck, and they would just send the dirt bike out as reconnaissance because you can obviously dodge around everywhere you want on a dirt bike. So they would race out on a dirt bike, peek over a hill, forward observe, and then race back to the truck, and they'd go through.
That's crazy.
Talk about awesome, but at the same time, you get hit on that, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. It was awesome though. Okay, so then you had Deuce and a Half.
The LHS.
Was the 5-ton introduced at all?
No, they didn't show us.
I think they were kind of phasing the 5 tons out a little bit.
We had 5 tons in my unit,
right?
But I mean, we use them more just because you can hold more.
Yeah.
But then there was the LHS.
Were they the flat nose ones?
The LHSs?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where you sat in front of the wheels.
Right. Okay. So a cab over essentially. Yeah. Yeah.
They were big. They had the 8-wheel system, dual steering in the front.
Oh, those ones. I know what you're talking about. You use them for tankers and stuff like that, like fuel.
They use them for the fuelers. They use them for.
We used to call them Hemmets. I don't know if that was maybe an older style.
The fueler they call it Hemmet.
Yeah. Is that the same system though?
Yeah,
Same.
yeah.
Okay.
It's the same truck.
Okay.
It's additionally the same truck.
Okay.
But and then the last truck we learned is the 915, which is the tractor trailer.
Tractor trailer, right?
Which that was my favorite truck, just because. I mean, hell, you got a trucker right there.
It's a big truck,
Yeah.
and it's funny because you just got your CDL.
Yep.
So you've kind of come full circle.
Yeah, a lot of people join the military and they're like, oh, I don't know what I want to do, and this is where like us veterans can come in and be like, listen, you're probably not going to stay in the military for the rest of your life.
It's
Pick
a good thought.
Something
it's
that
a good thought.
When you get out of the military will
translate into a civilian job.
Or benefit you.
And I will say that comes into picking the right branch too. If you love computers and you may want to do something technology related down the road,
Air Force.
Probably yeah. Well, probably being a grunt in the Marine Corps is not what you should probably do unless you're really good at transitioning. But and the Navy Navy and Air Force are fantastic for. I think for transitioning from the military to civilian world, just because they're not usually, I'll speak in general blanket statements here, they're not usually the front line. Usually, they are usually behind the scenes, the more technology driven units, branches to be in. So, no, it's very, very important. We'll sway off here a little bit. I joined, like I said, in 2003. I was 17. I was in high school. My parents had to sign off the waiver because I wasn't an adult, and which they did, thankfully. And the reason I joined, I was kind of in a similar situation. I knew that I wanted to go to college. See, we were both based our decisions off of college. I knew I wanted to go, but I also knew my parents could not afford for me to go. They had stretched themselves a little thin with my brother's college loans. He's older than me. And it just was not going to be an option for me to go if I did not have some alternative source of funding. And I'm not very smart. So
I am smart.
Grants.
SMRT.
Grants were not really a thing for me. I wasn't a huge academic. I shouldn't say. I'm downplaying myself. I wasn't very good academically. That's
how I was.
Yeah, I didn't assert myself very well in school.
Nope.
So it kind of bit myself in the long run. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But I ended up getting in, and I joined the National Guard, which allowed me to go to drill 1 weekend a month, and then we had our annual training 2 weeks a year. And this is going to get into that other rivalry here. There's always a rivalry. Active duty is better. No, National Guard is better. Blah. And it's funny. They both have. It comes down to what benefits you more. What's going to fit what you want better. Because honestly, we go through the same training. National Guard active duty. I went to basic training with active duty guys.
National Guard guys.
Yeah, you go through the same training. I think there are benefits to both. I really do. National Guard to me is very, very appealing. I think some of the standards have dropped over the years, and actually, I think now they're actually starting to go back up, which is nice. But over the years, a lot of the standards for the National Guard had dipped down, allowing people to just be fat and lazy and not held accountable. I know as I was getting out, that was starting to go away. Mm-hmm. So, but I picked the 19-kilo Abrams tank job because that was the closest armory to my house. It was actually right next door to my college campus. So it made it very, very easy for me to be able to accomplish both things. Also, the main driving factor for me was my family is originally from New York City. My parents were born there. I was born there. My brother was born in Delaware, but only because they moved away for a little bit. So when 9/11 happened, it hit really close to home to my family, as it did the entire country. But so there was a sense, in order to join the military, there should be some form of patriotism in you. There has to be. No one just cue bald eagle sound. But no, there has to be some form of patriotism in you. Otherwise, you're joining for the wrong reason. You should want to serve your country. You should want to put that uniform on, regardless of the consequences. Period. You took that oath the same as I did, the same as every other person that's ever done it before us, and it's to protect the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Period. Those are words that will never leave your head. So that's why I joined. And so job training was a little different for me. We just drove tanks.
America.
You talk about 70 ton of enjoyment.
70 ton of fun.
It really is. If you can't enjoy being in and near a tank, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
It has its ups and downs. I mean, it's big, so everything's heavy. Everything is loud.
Small on the inside.
Yeah, there's not a lot of whole room in the inside. But tons of fun, though. Once you're in there, it's pretty good. It's usually just getting in.
Yeah.
But everyone learns you learn your driving position first. And so you learn, and in the job training, you learn your driver and loading. Those are the first two positions you learn first. But usually when you get to your duty station as a low-ranking individual, you'll start as a loader. Mm-hmm. Loader is the bottom of the barrel. Your only responsibility is to put a fresh round in the tube. So it's a 120 millimeter main gun. You get your own 240 machine gun out of your hatch, which you will rarely use because if you are really engaging, your focus is going to be on reloading the main gun. And the tank commander has a 50 cal, and the gunner also has a 240. So it's nice to say, I have my own machine gun. But in reality, you'll never, shouldn't say never, but you'll rarely use it.
What size artillery was the tank shooting?
Artillery?
Or the
rounds.
The rounds. Sorry.
I said that. It was a 120.
Oh, did you? I did not hear.
120 Mike. Yeah, it's a 120 millimeter smooth bore barrel. Awesome. Oh, God, it's awesome. It's awesome. The rounds weigh anywhere between, it depends on the round. There's a couple different rounds. So they weigh anywhere between 50 and 80. Anywhere in between there. And you got to think, I'll try to post up some videos following this episode throughout the week to show what the inside is. There's not a lot of room. For the loader, essentially, the way you sit with the main gun to your left, and the rounds will kind of be to your right but behind you. So when you load, you have to be able to open up this ballistic door because obviously you don't want any if there's a misfire or any sort of fire that comes back in. Yeah, you don't want any of that to ignite these other ones.
Yeah.
So you have to open up this door, pull it out, flip it, and then put it in all within a couple seconds. You only have a few seconds. When they test you, I want to say you have to be able to do it in why am I thinking 5 seconds? I want to say it's 5 seconds you have.
Like, that's a good movie to, like, get based off of tanks is Fury.
I mean, it's a little dated.
Yeah, but
it is.
That's the concept.
Yeah, Fury is good.
It's like 5 guys.
There's 4.
Was it? No, well, they had 5
they
guys
had 5?
in their crew.
I know every tank has 4. So you have your driver, gunner,
I don't think
loader,
they don't have that front gunner anymore. Or do they?
I haven't seen that movie in a while. I need to watch that again. That's a good movie.
There's the driver, the front gunner.
Yeah.
And then
well, it depends on
whatever the other 3 are. Because I don't know tanks.
But actually, there's those of you who are Top Gear fans or the Grand Tour fans, Richard Hammond, the hamster, he actually does. There's an Amazon episode that he does where he drives any vehicle. He tries to learn every vehicle that's out there. And the very first episode is him on an Abrams tank. It's really cool. He learns every position on the tank. It's really, really awesome. And it kind of shows the inside and the intricacies that go into it. So, all right, but let's move on a little bit here. So you drove trucks.
Yep.
Did you also have to do any maintenance on the trucks too, or responsible for a certain level?
Stuff that was it was like owner
10 level
or operator level.
Yeah, so 10, which is called 10 level. It's
very oil, basics. That stuff.
Oil, air filter,
fluids.
Yeah,
anything that was. But I mean, you get in with the mechanics, and whatever you need, they'll do it.
Well, it's always funny because the motor pool, which is where they usually keep all. It doesn't matter what vehicle it is. The motor pool is where they keep all the vehicles. It's commonly known, if you're in the military, the motor pool is a great place to get parts that you then have to do it yourself.
Yep.
The mechanics at the motor pool only get involved if you need an engine replaced.
Yeah.
Is really what it comes down to.
What's nice is when you're in the transportation unit and you are part of transportation, who also is a part of transportation? The mechanics.
Yeah.
So you get to be buddy with them. And
I always found it weird. Like our tank mechanics the only thing they did was just give us tools.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, here's the part you need. Here's the tools you need. Let us know if you have trouble.
no, we had some stellar mechanics. They would help us out big time. But when it came to the infantry platoons, and companies, they were like, here's your wrench.
I need a metric.
Go change your tire.
I need a metric adjustable, please.
Yeah, they'd be like,
Come on. Do you have a pricky 5 I can get? I was told to get a pricky 5.
yeah. Go get an exhaust sample for me. Take this trash bag.
Okay, so let's move a little bit. Let's fast forward. So we know why we both joined. We know what we ended up doing. And I went to basic at Fort Knox, and my job training was in Fort Knox as well too. So I did my whole stint in Fort Knox, Kentucky, over the summer. And yes,
yum,
that sucked a lot. And actually, I briefly talked about this on the last episode about the fact that I went to basic training twice. And I'll touch on it briefly. It's very simple. So I originally, like I said, I enlisted in 2003, and the National Guard had a cool program called Split Op. So you could go to basic. It was meant for people who enlisted as a junior in high school, and then you'd go to basic training over your junior to senior summer. And then after your senior year, after you graduated, you would then go back and do your job training. So it'd split your training into 2, and you could still finish high school. This way, by the time you're done with high school, you just go right into your unit. Awesome option. I was able to do that as a senior. So the goal was, it would just push me back a year. So I was, my senior summer would be basic, and then I would be able to go to 1 semester of college and then go back to job training. So I went down, and I was almost done. I was only a couple weeks away from being done with basic. And we had done something out in the field, and I had these nasty bites on my leg. I had a spider bite. It was turning black and blue. So nobody wants to be the guy that goes to sick call because you don't want to be looked at as weak.
Well, there's always a couple that are sick call rangers.
All the time. You're
going to go to sick call and you'll feel good.
Yeah. And you just need some cough drops. Today. Although the cough drops were menthol cough drops, and they were nice. They were they were nice. We kind of bartered for those. Like, hey, you give me your Skittles out of your MRE, and I'll give you a cough drops. But so I finally sucked it up. I'm like, this isn't getting any better. I got to go. And I had chigger bites all over my thigh, really bad. And for those of you who don't know what a chigger is, look it up. You'll never ever want to visit anywhere that has chiggers ever again.
Fort Knox.
They sucks. Fort Indian Town Gap. I got it at Fort Indian Town Gap once, but at least I knew how to deal with it at that point.
Yeah.
I didn't know the first time. Essentially, it's a bug that bites you underneath the skin.
Oh.
And it sucks. And it looks like you have a bunch of pimples, and they itch, but they burn once you touch them. It sucks so bad. So I went to sick call, and that's all I wanted. I just wanted something for the spider bite and the chiggers. That's all I wanted. So they ended up doing blood work on me they just took it. I don't know why. And they come back, and the doctor's like, you need to go home immediately. I'm like, what do you mean, back to the company? He goes, no, you have to leave the base. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you have mono. I'm like, mononucleosis, the kissing flu, as they call it. I'm like, I don't understand. I felt perfectly fine other than my leg. Like I didn't feel sick.
Yeah.
He's like, you have to go. You cannot stay here. You're contagious. You cannot go back to the company. You have to stay in here. We'll draw up all your paperwork, or we'll get your flight set up to go back home. And within a couple hours, I was on a plane.
They're on it.
They booted my ass quicker than, like, they acted like I had the plague. And looking back, rightfully so. Obviously, you don't want to get an entire company sick because that would just screw up everything. So, yeah, I had to go back to my company, and my drill sergeant was sitting outside, and he was like, where the fuck were you? What are you doing? I'm like, I outstretched my arm as far as I could. I'm like, drill sergeant, I'm supposed to give you this. I have to go home. And he was like, what the fuck are you talking about? He read it, and he was like, shit, get away from me. He's like, you stand over there. I'll have everyone pack your shit.
Oh my God.
So yeah, they had my roommates pack my stuff, and they threw the duffel bags at me and said, get out of here, get better. I was on a plane on my way home. So it screwed me up, and I wasn't able to pick back up where I left off. I had to start back over from day one, which...
That sucks.
And anyone who's been in the military knows day one sucks.
Yes.
Day one sucks.
Yes, it does.
You show up and you get screamed at. You get introduced to a drill sergeant for the first time in your life.
And you run with all your stuff.
Multiple times. Yeah. After they make you unpack it.
Yeah.
And then repack it. And anyone who's ever unpacked anything, even just going from like a hotel, once you have everything packed just nice, it fits just right. And then if you take one thing out, it never fits right again.
Nope.
Like, I spent so much time doing that. So now you're doing this while you're being screamed at by, 4 people at once, maybe.
Intimidating. Very
intimidating, And you're shorter, but you're not a small guy. I'm not a small guy. But to have that person just in you, just
screaming in your face,
it's a mind fuck.
And you're like, oh, what did I do? Why did I do this?
What did I just sign up for? And there's a reason. Everyone thinks drill sergeants are just mean to be mean. There's a reason for it. They want to break you down mentally because you have people who join with egos. I'm the toughest shit. I'm the biggest guy here. I'm the best shooter, blah, 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 blah. They want to break you down mentally and physically. They do break you down physically. And then the end goal is to build you up as a team. They want you. I guess you could view it as a brainwashing session, but in the best way possible. They want unit cohesion. They want everyone to be on the same page. That no one is better than anybody else. You are all the same.
You're all one.
There's no racism. I went to Fort Knox, so there was no sexism. We were all guys at that point. But now in other jobs,
that's how it was at Benning. It was all. Yeah. It was all. It's an infantry.
But now women can sign up for infantry. So back when we were in, you couldn't. So you realize there's no sexism, there's no racism. You're all pieces of shit, and you all are going to get.
You're all equally worthless.
That's right. Which, so yeah, that's the reason why the yelling and the screaming and the making you do push-ups. There's a reason behind it. They want you to be physically and mentally stronger. So in order to do that, they have to break down whatever barriers you might already have up. You might have poor self-esteem. Well, by the time you leave, I guarantee you will not. It's just how it is. So I had to go through day one twice, which sucked. I did have a leading edge, though. The second time around, I was like...
You're like, I know what I'm doing.
I didn't tell anyone.
Grab my shit and go.
I didn't tell anyone until like week 4. Like, oh yeah, this is my second time around. I didn't tell anybody because I'm like, nobody wants to be that guy.
Keep your head down and go.
And a rule for anyone who is considering joining the military, the goal that you want is to not be known. You don't want the drill sergeant to know your name. You want to get to graduation and go, who are you? I actually had that happen. I had one drill sergeant come up to me. And it was funny because I was platoon guide. So I was out in front of the platoon for a good chunk of the entire time I was down there. And he came up to me. He was like, who the fuck are you? I'm like, Private Ambrose, drill sergeant. He's like, were you reclass? Did you get like recycled through? And I'm like, no, been here the whole time. He goes, are you fucking with me? I'm like, no, drill sergeant. I've literally been here the whole time. So that's a good goal to have. You don't want to be the guy who's known. So, and sometimes you can't help it. I have a weird last name. My one drill sergeant called me Amberbotch just because he couldn't function properly and think that Ambrose is how you pronounce it. So, but
he might be listening, and I definitely see a knife hand coming your way.
Oh God! Oh, what was his name? I had Drill Sergeant Valvano, Drill Sergeant Woolaver, Drill Sergeant Lang. Lang was the one who couldn't pronounce my last name. But awesome guys, man. Top notch. I wouldn't have gotten through if it wasn't for them. They were very, very good. So let's move on now. We've gone through the basic section, job training. Let's move on to the fun topic, war. So I deployed to Afghanistan we mobbed in 2007. We mobilized. So we went through training in early 08 and we actually went over for 2008. When did you?
I went over in 2011.
Is that when you actually left, or did you mobilize prior to that?
Oh, we mobilized in, I want to say when I got to the unit, they were getting ready to deploy. So it was in
Okay.
December 2010.
Wait, when did you get out of job training?
November.
So you only had a couple months there.
Yeah, I got to my duty station. The week that I got there, I found that I was deploying in 3 months. And so I only had like 4 months on.
How old were you at that point?
I was 20.
You were 20. Okay. So
No, I wasn't even 20. I was 19.
So
I was 19 when I got
Okay.
I turned 20 when I was overseas.
Okay.
So I deployed within a year of me graduating high school. It wasn't even.
Yeah.
It was 6 months.
And I don't think a lot of people put some thought into that if you sign up at 17, like if you go through that process that way, you can literally be overseas at 18, 19, depending on when your birthday is.
Mm-hmm.
You could turn 19 overseas. I was deployed with a 19-year-old.
I was 19 when I deployed.
I mean,
So-
that's... And one thing that you have to go through during the mobilization process is you have to make a will. You have to make a living will. You want to talk about fucking with your head. You ask a 19-year-old to say, okay, when I die, if I die, this money is going to this person.
Yeah.
At 19, it really is a mind fuck to have to do that. But you have to.
And then all the preparation, the shots that you got to go through and do all this stuff, do all that.
Yeah. Did you have to go through as much of that? Because you just got out of basic not that long
Oh, no,
before
I
that.
went through it all.
Oh, wow.
I went through getting the anthrax and
Yeah, that's
smallpox
Yeah,
and
that's right. I forgot about that.
all the goodies.
Okay, so you got to your unit station, and tell everybody where you had the pleasure of serving.
Hawaii.
I really think that's probably the dream of a lot of people
Yeah,
when
I mean,
they fill out their duty
a
stations.
19-year-old kid going to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Come on.
When you went to basic, you had to go through in job training, you had to fill out the duty station, right?
No, actually, I didn't do that. I didn't fill out any duty stations I wanted to possibly go to or anything.
But you had to go through that, right? Everyone had to sit down and do it, right? Because they handed that paper out to us when we were in either
They
basic
told
or...
us that we were going to go to a duty station, and they didn't tell us where they were or anything.
Oh.
So they weren't very informative of anything. So I got lucky.
Well, at least when we did that, see, I didn't have to because I was National Guard, but the guys that I was with, they for the active duty guys, they got a piece of paper and they had the illusion of picking where they wanted to go.
That's not true.
It's the
That's not how it
illusion.
works.
They're like, yeah, pick your top two, and nobody got what they wanted except for one guy, Private Wall, Jacob Wall. If you're listening, Jacob Wall, I miss you. You're an awesome guy. He picked Korea for his duty station, and he got it.
Wow. Yeah, they just pick your name out of a hat and they're like, "Oh, we're sending this guy to freaking Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri."
Congratulations, you go to Fort Dix. But I think for Wall, they were like, "Shit, we actually have somebody who wants to go to Korea. We need a Korea pick, right?" All right, he's going. Nobody wants to go to Korea, but he told me, and this may still happen someday. He's like, "One day you're going to see a tank driving across the DMZ." And it's going to be me. He was a Kentucky boy. Awesome guy. He told the best dead baby jokes. Okay, so you got stationed in Hawaii.
Yep, 25th
What-
Infantry Division.
What island was that?
Oahu.
Oahu.
Or I think it was Comeoniwannalayya. No, it was on Oahu.
I don't know my island. I don't know the Hawaii Islands that well. So is that that's not the main one, is it?
It's where Honolulu is.
Okay, which is the capital.
Yeah. But Oahu and Maui are the main islands people visit.
So those are the tourist destinations. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what was your typical day for active duty on Hawaii?
Wake up, go outside, and
I'm glad you
PT
woke up. I'm
formation.
glad you did that first.
Well, wake up, you go down to PT formation, you do PT.
Which is physical training.
Yes. Which we didn't do much of because I was in a lazy platoon
Shame.
that didn't like to do PT.
Shame. But you weren't lazy.
No, I liked to run.
Yeah.
I don't anymore.
Well, because we get older. That's what happens.
Then after PT, we would meet at the motor pool at a certain time. And most of the time we go to the motor pool and we wouldn't do daily squat. We would just sit there till we got released.
Sounds like a sweet day.
Yeah.
So it was a typical work day, essentially, at the motor pool?
Yeah, that was our work day. Yeah.
9 to 5?
Yeah, they would usually cut us early.
Okay.
But unless we had like a mission to go out on or something to do.
Yeah.
Like an ammo delivery or whatnot to the ranges.
Okay.
Then we really didn't do anything.
So once you were released for the day, what'd you do?
Go home, go to my barracks room, go eat dinner, work out.
Did you do any surfing?
I did. I would on the weekends we would go to the beach and spend all day at the beach, go surfing. Just
what was the name of the fort there?
It was Schofield Barracks.
Schofield Barracks. No, like it was Fort
that
what?
Was it.
Fort.
No, that was Schofield Barracks.
So it wasn't called a fort something.
Nope. That's actually Schofield Barracks is actually a lot of history.
Oh, I'll have to look into it.
They're
or
from
you can
like the
tell us.
Pearl Harbor attacks and
Okay.
everything. There's buildings that still have bullet holes in them and all that.
Nothing but the best for the military.
Yeah, right. Still have bullet holes in my wall.
Well, that's a big thing for National Guard units is a lot of the bases for National Guard
Yeah.
are old World War II barracks with no heat or one source of heat and no air conditioning. All right, so then when you mobbed, which is mobilize for those of you who don't know. So mobilizing is when you start getting paperwork and training. You start training for what you know your mission is going to be.
Yep.
And like I said at the top of the show, your mission could totally change depending on your job. Did yours stay pretty much what your job was?
No.
No. So
I trained with the transportation unit, the company that I was with.
Right.
We went to NTC, which is the National Training Center in Fort Irwin, California, which is a desert. And we were there we did a month-long training out there.
Right.
And then we came back, got to go home on leave before we deployed. Got back from leave, got ready to deploy. We deployed. I was overseas for about 2 weeks, and then they told me I was going to a different platoon. I was like, what do you mean I'm going to a different
just
platoon?
you or other?
It was me and another guy.
Okay.
And they're like, you're going to a different platoon. I was
That
like,
sucks.
okay, what platoon? How are we going to a different platoon?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're going to PSD. I was like, what the fuck is that? They're like, personal security detachment.
Right.
And I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, you're going to roll out with like sergeant major and a battalion commander. I was like, oh, cool. Yay.
Armored taxi.
And then they're like, okay, what platoon am I going to? And they're like, oh, you're going to this platoon. And I was like, that's an infantry platoon.
Yeah.
I'm not infantry. And they're like,
Was it your same division?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
the same. It was the same battalion.
Okay.
But I got moved companies, and then from that down to the PSD platoon.
Right.
So
Yes.
I was with a bunch of infantry guys,
Yes.
totally different company, no one I knew. I'm training with everybody. I'm getting real close with them. We're getting to know
It's that
each other.
unit cohesion. It makes a big difference.
And then I got ripped out right to another platoon with guys I had no idea who they were.
It happened with us. Except we had guys put in with us.
Yeah.
So same thing. We had two people that were three. Yeah, three people who were not organic to our company and platoon get put into us from other places. So yeah, it happens. I don't know why it happens. I don't know if it's just a numbers thing and they're like, all right, we'll pull these people. I don't know if it's random. I don't know how it works.
I have no idea.
It was beyond my pay grade.
No, my first sergeant was just like, he told me I was going.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. You can't be like, no, I'm not going.
You enlisted as an E1?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was an E2. I was an E2.
In enlistment or during deployment?
Enlistment, and then I got promoted to E3.
So you went to basic as an E2 or an
Yeah.
E1? Okay. For those that's rank structure.
Yeah.
So everyone starts as an E1 for the most part. No, that's the only way you can.
No, you can start out as
no.
like an E3 or
You can actually
even
start as an
an
E4 with college.
Mm-hmm.
You can start as an E4, but everyone starts off as enlisted. If you want to then become an officer after that, that's different school and whatnot and process for that. So, okay, so you then got put into a different platoon.
Yep.
And where in Afghanistan was that?
I was in the Kunar province, right on the Pakistan border, right going close to the Korengal Valley.
That's mid to northeast ish.
It's northeast Afghanistan.
Yeah, and I was in Kalat, which is Zabul province, which is central east. We were right near the Pakistan border too, but we were more central. And you were more northern.
Yep.
So you got to see some greenery at least.
Yeah.
We didn't get a whole lot of greenery.
The countryside is very beautiful.
It honestly, from everything that I saw, it is a beautiful country. I'm kind of jealous of like World War II vets that get to go back to Germany and see where they were during their battles.
Yeah.
We'll never get that.
No, you get your head cut off.
Yeah. We'll never get to go see that country in not in our lifetime. Well, maybe in our lifetime.
Maybe.
You know, part of me doesn't really care if I do or not.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't want to go back to that shithole.
Yeah, no. You'd have to pay me a lot more than I was paid the first time to go there, right? Which was not much. So yeah, okay. So you were over there, and was yours? Did you have a 12-month deployment, or was it 18?
I had a 12 month.
Yeah, 12. I knew they did away with the 18s at one point. So yeah, we were under the same situation where we had. Obviously we were tankers. If you ever look at the geography of Afghanistan, there's no way you can use a tank there.
No.
It's just not plausible. If you did, it would sit in one spot like an outpost. It would just stay on an outpost is what would happen.
Yeah.
And it would never move, and you would just use it as a stationary turret. It's really all it would become. So it's a waste of resources. So they send us over as an infantry company. They actually reclassed us completely. We were the 3rd of the 103rd for the 28th Division. But they changed us, I believe it was the 4th of the 104th. They changed us just to be able to go over as that. It was weird. I don't remember exactly what it was because it went through a couple different changes. But so we mobilized at the middle of 2007. Actually, I think we found out we were going to Afghanistan in March of 2007. That just came up in my news feed the other day for a memory. And we did our annual training that year. We did it at Fort Pickett, Virginia, which sucked. They always put training places in the shittiest places. Mm-hmm. It sucks. So we went there, and then by Christmas, we were actually going to leave beginning of December. I believe it was December 3rd, if I remember correctly, of 2007. We were going to leave for Fort Bragg, North Carolina, home of the 101st, or no, home of the 82nd. Fort Bragg is 82nd Airborne.
Yeah, 101st is Campbell.
Yeah, home of the 82nd is Fort Bragg. They all suck anyway. Personal experiences, but so we trained there. They had us on a training fob outside of Fort Bragg called Fort Pickett, and not Fort Pickett, fob Patriot. No, that doesn't sound right. Shit, I don't remember. It sucked. Well, we had no hot showers, and we were down in North Carolina in the wintertime, which isn't obviously as bad as wintertime in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But it still sucked. So no hot showers. We had porta-johns, and we did have indoor plumbing as well too. But you had to walk further for the plumbing. So obviously we just spent most of our time in the porta-john. So yeah, we trained there, and then we left. We were able to go home for Christmas, which was nice. Because we didn't get leave before we left, but we were allowed to go home for Christmas, which was nice. And then I think we got a week. No, less than a week. Maybe we got 3 or 4 days to go home for Christmas, which was nice. And then right before we were done, we finished in February. We had a 4-day family pass, 4-day pass before we actually deployed. And that's when I got married. Crystal came down, her family came down, and we got married. We were already planning the wedding anyway. Yeah. So we had a small chapel by the beach, not on the beach, but by the beach. Got married there, cheapo wedding. Yeah, and then we sent out. So what was your route going over? You went from, where did you fly to?
I flew from Hawaii to like Michigan. Okay. And then from Michigan to Ireland.
Okay.
Ireland to, what was it, Kyrgyzstan?
Manas, right?
Yeah,
Manas, Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. And then from there, I flew to
Bagram, probably.
Yeah, to Bagram.
Yep.
And then I flew to Jalalabad.
Yep. Jalalabad.
And then I flew.
Through?
Yeah, from there. Well, from there we got onto Chinooks.
Yep.
And we flew into my fob.
And what was the name of your fob?
Joyce.
Joyce.
Fob Joyce.
Okay. You're OPSEC. You're out of that.
Yeah.
Your limitations from when, okay. Yeah. I know I'm definitely out of it. So, and it's nice because the fob that I was on doesn't exist anymore. So
Yeah.
I'm allowed
I don't think Joyce is up and
probably
running
not
anymore. I think they tore it down.
Yeah. All right. So I took a similar path. We went from Fort Bragg. I forget what the Air Force base it's attached to Fort Bragg is called.
Oh yeah,
There's one right off of it. It's a pretty big name too.
we took off from Wheeler.
Yeah.
Wheeler's pretty big. I mean, anything in Hawaii is big because of Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. So then we flew from there to Maine, Bangor, Maine.
Bangor.
And then from there we landed in, I want to say we landed in Germany for a refuel. We weren't allowed to drink in the airport.
Yeah, I got to Ireland, and it was like when we got into Ireland, it was like 3:00 in the morning.
Oof.
So everything was closed.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even like enjoy it.
That sucks. But then from Germany, we went to Manas, Kyrgyzstan. So Kyrgyzstan is up near Russia. It's in between Russia and China. It's that northern.
It's just an armpit.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks.
It was so bad there.
It was. When did you land? When did you get there? What time of year?
It was March.
Oh, yeah,
March or April.
Same time as we got there end of February.
The weather was just shitty.
It was cold, and I don't know about you, but we were told to pack a 3-day bag.
Yeah.
So a 3-day, you literally only pack a bag enough to keep you
for 3 days.
For 3 days, essentially. So that was going there. So that you don't, you're limited on space. So of course you're not going to pack all of your cold weather gear.
Yeah.
So we were there and it was cold, and I had like one thermal shirt, and that's all I had. So that sucked. And then from there we went to Bagram. Then we went from Bagram to Kandahar airfield. From then Kandahar, then it was an hour-ish road trip up Highway 1. Was there a major highway up by you?
No.
Okay, so we had Highway 1 that there's really only one major paved road on that side of the country, which is Highway 1. So yeah, we took Highway 1
It'll take you anywhere you need to go. There's like 2 roads where I was, and it'll take you where you need to go.
There's one north-south, there's one east-to-west. That's all you need. So, and then it was an hour trip up to Zabul province, up to Kalat, which is where we were on Fob Lagman, which in 2012 was handed over to the Afghanis, and they said, "Yeah, we don't want it," and they ditched it. So Fob Lagman does not exist anymore, which is, I actually met somebody through Wounded Warrior Project that was there as part of the turnover.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But all right, so you said your job was PSD. So kind of explain what you had to do on what was an average day in your deployment?
I guess it all depended on if we were going out of the wire or not. Most of the time they would put us on like QRF, Quick Reaction Force.
Yep. Which you have to be able to spool up at
within
any given
minutes.
Within minutes. That could be a reaction to somebody else being under fire, and you have to go help them out. EOD could need security.
Yep.
So you could roll with them.
We went out with EOD. We would go out and help other platoons. We were like, just like the
standby. You're on call. Yeah. What about when you did go out on missions?
When we did, we would either be taking our battalion commander to a big meeting with one of the local,
like a shura.
Yeah, like a local whatever, they're
Elders.
like a mayor or whatnot, the local guys. And we would sit there and we would just wait until he was done with the meeting, and he would come back out, and we would just take him back to the base. We were the security. We were security.
Armored taxi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's essentially what we were too. We were deployed as part of a PRT, a provincial reconstruction team, and we had civilian people, people from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USAID, that were there to try to help rebuild the Afghanistan infrastructure.
Yeah.
Help these people have alternative, like the.
That's what we were trying to do.
Yeah. The agricultural guys here, we're going to give you an alternative to poppy. Grow this instead of poppy, because there's a huge drug market in Afghanistan, if you didn't already know this. But poppy, opiates are huge over there.
And marijuana grows
everywhere.
in the wild.
Yeah, everywhere.
On the side of the street, everywhere.
Yep. Just randomly. You find kind of like weeds, like literally
on the
weeds.
side of the road.
Yeah. So that was their goal, was to be able to help them function without their traditional ways of doing things illegally.
Yeah.
So, which over there was legal, but trying to kind of reshape them. We can get into the whole conversation about whether,
It's pointless.
it's political or whatnot like that. And there is a lot of politics that plays into it. But at the end of the day, we wanted them to be able to function without us there and without causing more shit with the Taliban. Mm-hmm. Hard to do, by the way.
Yeah.
Hard not to cause shit with the Taliban. But yeah, so we were a PRT, and we were the security force, or Sec 4, of that half of the PRT, and then we had the other half, which was we were attached with Air Force was attached to us for like our S4, our Intel, our communications guys, and our mechanics were all Air Force, and then our EOD guys were Navy and Air Force. Awesome guys. EOD guys, I swear, they're some of the best guys ever. I don't know about your EOD team.
Yeah, he was fucking crazy.
Wait, you had one EOD guy?
No, well, their little platoon, their little like, I mean, they had one truck worth of guys, so it was like 5 guys.
Yeah, we had like 1 or 2, I think. Yeah.
And the platoon sergeant, he was fucking crazy.
Yeah,
he did some of the craziest shit I've ever seen.
Well, to be EOD, EOD is explosive ordnance
I don't know.
Detection?
They're the bomb squad.
Yeah, I don't know what the D stands for, to be honest with you. But yeah, bomb squad, military bomb squad, essentially. You kind of have to be a little crazy to do that job.
Like the dude would, here's the situation. There's a IED down and in the road.
Someone
underneath.
Finds it, or
So
they get a report of it.
Yep. We got a report of it, so we rolled out with him. He tells everybody, get behind a rock. Pulls off his fucking gear. Jumps in the hole. Jumps down the hole head first. Forrest Gump it. Right down in the freaking hole. Ties a rope around the IED and pulls it out by the rope.
But by the way, against all protocol there. Yeah, that's not what you're supposed to do.
Crazy.
But,
it's crazy.
Some of those guys, they do what they have to do to get the job done.
Yeah. And I mean...
Was there another way to do that?
Yeah.
Probably.
Would it have taken longer?
Probably. And you're not getting paid by the hour.
Would it have been safer?
So. Probably. Yeah. I love how get behind a rock.
Yeah, get behind something in case this blows up.
Wow, that's...
Pretty much.
So we did QRF for some of the EOD guys, and that for some of those missions, they were pretty cool.
Yeah,
they were interesting. When you get to feel like 10 pounds of C4 go off, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. You get to. I have some videos. I'll post it up this week too. Of the shock, you can see
the shockwave.
Yeah, you can see like the dust coming off the earth because sound travels at a different speed than light. So you're seeing and hearing the shock at different times, and it's so cool to see. But yeah, so that was an example of one of the cool things to go out to. So we had that. We were also a forward surgical team. Our base was our FOB was a surgical unit. So we were the closest thing to get people to prior to going to Kandahar, which is where they would get really fixed up. So we had a bunch of doctors there as well. So we had a big medevac in and out. And actually the helicopter pad was about 100 yards away from where we slept. So you talk about getting used to falling asleep under any condition. That's one way to do it, Here's a helicopter. Go to sleep.
Yeah.
And sometimes a lot of those medevac missions, which medevac is medical evacuation, some of those medevac calls would get called off. So sometimes the pilots would go start the helicopter to get ready, and then their mission would be canceled.
Yeah.
Either they didn't need it or something else. They managed, the people managed to get out of there. So they were just starting it up for nothing, and then they'd shut it back down. So yeah, you learn to sleep through that kind of stuff. But all right, so you had that experience. Here's a question I know the answer to, because it's the same answer that I would give, but I'm going to ask it anyway. If you had to go back and do it all over again.
Yep.
Didn't even have to hesitate. Nope. 100%. I agree with you there. Would you do it again, like now?
No.
Yes. That's the answers I was looking for. And I think that's pretty common. A lot of vets wouldn't change with the things they did, because honestly, that's what made us who we are. Those experiences, and that's anything. You don't have to be deployed to to say that something didn't make you who you are, but that's definitely the case in here. The military gave us the work ethic that we have. It gave us the integrity. I think integrity is huge in the military. And actually, that's something that I'm trying to instill in my kids. If there's anything they take away from me, I want them to take away integrity. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one's looking. Like if you want to give an example of it. And that's something I'm trying to give to my kids. And that's something that's in the military a lot. I would never trade my time. You were in for 4 years?
Yeah, just about.
So, because active duty you do in increments of 4 usually.
I had the option to get out early. They gave me that option.
Good behavior?
No. Not good behavior, but I can't remember the name of what they actually call it, but they're like, oh, you have the choice to either do this or your contract's ending in a certain amount of time if you want to wait till then or if you want to get out now.
So why did you get out? Why not stay in for another 4, another 10, 20?
At that time, it's just what I wanted to do. I was ready. I did my time.
Yeah.
I don't like the people I'm with anymore.
Which you could have
new
changed.
People coming in. Yeah, I could have went to a whole different unit and everything. But then I was like,
different state, different country.
It's the brotherhood that I had, the guys I was with. I was like, I don't think I could ever go back and do it
especially when you deploy with those guys.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
That's even different. Love them or hate them. You now have a shared experience with somebody that you can't take away, period. It's kind of like being married to someone for 20 years and you start dating again. Guess what? It's going to be really different.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be the same. You've now, whether it's good or bad, you've now gone through this experience together. So you got out just because you felt you were done.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did my time.
Yeah. I was same thing for me. I did. Now, National Guard was a little different. You had 6x2 is what it's called. So you did 6 years of active going to drills and whatever. And then there was 2 years of inactive ready reserve. So 2 years that you could, you didn't have to go to drill.
Yeah.
You were technically still in, but you weren't accountable for anything.
That's how I am right now. I am technically till 2018.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because you do 4 and 4.
Oh, I didn't know that for active duty. Oh, that's cool.
So I've been.
That sucks. You could go back.
Yeah. I'm still their property until next year.
Yeah, technically. Wow. In reality, it rarely happens.
No, I mean, I've been out for 4 years now. Or 3 years.
It rarely happens, but that's used in the case of an emergency, like similar to a draft. But you've already done your time, so instead of being a random person, they just use it as a buffer. Instead of drafting people, they'll go to the inactive ready reserve people first.
We still got this guy for another fucking 6 months. Let's
take
him.
Oh, he's a pothead now? Oh, fuck it. We'll take him anyway. But, so my 6 years was up in 2009, and then my additional 2 was obviously 2011. So I've been cut free for a while.
Yeah, I still got a year.
Yeah, it sucks to be you.
Yeah,
in reality.
Nothing's happened.
Did you already get your discharge paper?
Yeah.
Well, not your DD-214.
No.
Do you actually get your certificate yet? I think you get that at the end of your inactive.
Maybe.
Because I got mine, which was nice.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling. When you get that, you're like, oh, yes. So I was in the same situation. Crystal was pregnant at that point. I was like, well, I can stay in, but you're going to have to give me something for it. So when I got out, I was an E4. I was a specialist. Were you E4 as well?
E4 Mafia
for life. For life. So that was, I said, look, I had enough points for E5. I'm like, if you promote me before my ETS, my end of time in service, I will stay in. I'll re-enlist for another. I said I would do, what did I say I'd do? I said I'd do another 2. Because once you hit that 10-year mark, I kind of feel you got to stay in for the full 20.
Yeah.
Once you're halfway there, you got to stay in.
It's pointless not to.
Yeah. So I'm like, I said I would re-enlist to get me before that 10-year mark and then decide if I was going to stay in or not. And they told me, no, that's not the way it's going to work. You're going to stay in and then we'll give it to you. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, it's time. I did my duty. I did my service. It's time for me to hang up my jacket and let somebody else put it on instead, and pass the torch. Let somebody make room for somebody else that wants to come in and do it. So, which is nice. So now, Well, we'll do a little bit more here, but there's a couple things I want to touch on prior to ending this. So, with your transition back to civilian life, has that been an easy one for you?
Yeah, I think
fairly easy.
It was fairly easy.
Now, it's safe to say neither of us were injured. Physically, we did not have any injuries while deployed. So we were not shot. We were not anything like that. So we don't have any physical injuries to overcome. So you didn't have any issues with readjusting to the civilian life. I mean, there's always something.
Yes,
gotta be.
Here and there.
Yeah, it is. It's a different way of thinking.
Nothing like serious.
Right.
Like
you never went postal.
No.
Yet.
Yeah. Yet.
No, it is a big transition, and there's a stigma that veterans are unstable, that we're quick to anger, we'll flip a switch. It's plausible. Anything's plausible, but it's plausible whether you're in the military or not. I know I had a little bit of trouble with the transition. I didn't think I did at first. I ended up going back to school. I had one semester left to finish, so I finished that. And that sucked because everyone I started college with had graduated. So now I had to make new friends for a semester. I'm like, well, I don't want to, fuck this. I don't want to do this. So I finished my semester. I made a handful of friends, not even. Like I made two or three new friends, just be able to finish the year off. And getting into the workforce, I have kind of had some difficulty holding down at one job since I graduated, which was May of 2009. And I kind of attribute a little bit of it to the fact that I'm just a stubborn person, very strong-willed, very stubborn. Anyone who knows me knows that that's pretty accurate, putting it nicely. I'm a pain in the ass, really.
Yes.
But I think I have a very good work ethic. I will not stop work until I think I am done. And even then, I'm probably going to keep going. In some way, I was very bad at bringing work home with me, which is not good. I do not recommend anyone, no matter who you are, bring work home with you. Work is work, home is home. Those two should be separated. Period. Except for now, I work from home. But again, I'm learning how to separate that as well too, and that's a whole other story. But no, I know medically, I had some issues. I know I've been diagnosed with PTSD. And depression, also hearing loss, which I'm sure you have.
What?
No, touche.
Mine, it's not bad. My hearing, I have selective hearing, so.
Yeah, Maddie has told me all about it. No, I did. What did you have for ear pro over there? Did you have headsets for the trucks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which doesn't do any good if something goes off, because then it just ricochets through.
Yeah, there's a lot of white noise that gets.
Because if you're like pow, and it goes through and everything.
Well, there is white noise too, and white noise will slowly deteriorate your upper register. And that was very important. We had the Bose headsets. I think they were made by Bose. If I remember correct, it's probably the same thing you had.
I don't know. Mine sucked. They sucked.
Ours stuck with the truck, so it was whatever you got.
They sucked.
Yeah. I was a gunner, so I was up top the whole time, so it didn't matter to me. But I came back and had a hard time hearing upper registers, so I had a hard time hearing, which coincidentally is also women's voices. So I did have a harder time hearing women talk, which is convenient that I have two daughters and a wife. So so I had some troubles there, but I did have some issues adjusting. Just because you had people who have never, here I am. I was in charge of a 50 cal machine gun. I was, I was on a truck. I was able to operate these big Humvees with, or MRAPs, or all these vehicles, or a tank, an Abrams tank, for crying out loud. And then you get back to the civilian workforce, and that doesn't really translate into that, and people don't care because, well, they've been working at that job longer than you. They know how to sign paperwork. It's hard. It is tough. Having a good line of support through friends and family is huge, especially other veterans. I know you got out. You don't go to Hawaii, and obviously a lot of those people you were with most of them aren't from PA. Probably most of them.
No.
Right. So how many of the guys that you deployed with you get to see on a daily basis?
Yeah.
So I will say this. This is a trait that I feel is huge in the veteran community. And I don't know if you've experienced this. I think you kind of have. I bet you have. Is to be able to meet somebody. And as soon as you find out that that person is a veteran, you have a bond and you know nothing about them, but you have a bond and you know. Actually, I'm going over to Casper's neighbors today. Her husband was an Iraq vet for PA National Guard. They are his wife and Casper's girlfriend Gabby they were friends. So I got invited out to Gabby's birthday party and I got to meet them. And as soon as he said to me, "Are you a vet?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Me too." And that quick exchange, "Where were you?
Yeah.
Where were you?"
Yeah.
Boom, instant.
No matter, and it's no matter the age difference.
Yeah,
Like
he's a couple years older than me. I'm a couple years older than you.
Yeah.
And the
Even
same
like
thing.
Vietnam vets.
Oh yeah,
just sit and talk bullshit with them and
because
everything.
you have that shared experience, and no matter that person could be a piece of shit, which you'll find out later.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, in that room that I was in with probably 15 other people for the dinner party, I only wanted to talk to him.
Yeah.
I didn't want to talk to anybody else, and I knew him for like 5 minutes at that point. And the same thing, like, so your cousin Dan introduced us together, and he had said to me, he's like, "Hey, you got to meet my cousin. You know, he's got a VW now, and he was in the Army. He just got back from deployment. You should really meet him." Met you, and we've been talking ever since. So, you know, we come out and hang out together. You know, and it's a bond that you there's no other way to there's nobody else. There's no other way to describe it.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening in any other.
It's just like instant friendship.
Yeah, absolutely. It's more than, well, it's a brotherhood, and they've always said that.
Yeah.
You know, everyone always hears in the military it's a brotherhood, but I'm giving you two examples there. You grew up down here in the Lehigh Valley.
Yeah.
I grew up 3 hours away from here, and we were deployed to almost the same region, probably within a couple hours of each other, several years apart. We meet through one random person.
Yeah.
And instant friendship.
Yep.
And that's it. That's all it took. And the same thing with this other guy. His name's Brian. Actually, his wife is going to be on the show for our small business episode, which will be nice. But same thing. He didn't even go to Afghanistan. He went to Iraq. And friends, instant friends. Like, perfect. Great. You know, and that's a great tool as veterans that we need to stick together. As we've seen from the VA, and everyone knows the stories of the VA, the Veterans Affairs. There's a lot of shitty care out there, and there's a lot of people who don't care or care very little. And we can't sit around and wait for politicians to get off their ass and do things to benefit us. We need to benefit ourselves. We need to help each other. And there's tons of good communities out there and good environments. So many different companies that are giving back. I know I get dogged on a lot for supporting Black Rifle Coffee, but you know what they're doing by supporting the veterans the way they are employing veterans. They are trying to give back to the community. They give back to law enforcement charities as well too. They're giving money right back to them. They're taking money out of their own pockets and giving it. And sometimes it's more about the money. It's more about the camaraderie and being able to bring out the best in people for the sake of our own sanity, to be honest with you. The only reason why I was able to get through my issues was talking about my issues. You know, the VA had me on pills galore, and there's about a year of my life that I don't remember, and it sucks because I was on so many pills. And I don't care about talking about it. I don't care, especially now, because my therapy has been telling people about my problems. And one thing that sucks too is every brain is different. You can have two people who experience the exact same event, and it doesn't have to be military. It's anything, a car crash, anything. You experience the same traumatic event together. One person may walk away with no issues ever for the rest of their life, and one person may be traumatized for the rest of their life. The human brain picks, you don't have a choice. The human brain picks what it wants to do. So it's important. Having a good support line is huge. I'm very thankful. Crystal's always been there for me, even when I should have been there for her. So I'm very, very fortunate for that. I know, and especially for you, like I've told you, And I've told Maddie, I'm like, if you ever need me, I am here. You have my number. You know, it's more than just let's get together, drink beer, and talk about shooting. You know, it goes beyond what we've already done and what we can do in the future. And I think it's funny because, you know, the percentage of small business owners, there's a huge chunk that are veterans. Veterans are more likely to start a small business, be an entrepreneur, than a civilian, than someone who has not had the military service. It's crazy. Although there is something I should say that, and I know it's been said on other outlets before, but you shouldn't choose to do business with a veteran-owned business because they're a veteran-owned business. There should be a reason why, like, for the example, Bearded Detailer, veteran-owned business, it's my business. You should do business with me because I do fantastic work.
Yep.
That should be why you want to do business with me. It should then come as a bonus that, oh, well, he does good business or he does good work, and he has great work ethic, and he has great people skills because of his time in the service. I would rather support that person than someone who doesn't. Yeah. So, because there are shady people. There's shady and shitty people out there, and that goes for law enforcement, bankers, and military. That's just the way it is. So you really have to pick and choose. But yeah, I want to say don't support a veteran business just because they're a veteran business. Because if they have a shitty product and service, then it doesn't really matter, does it? You're supporting shit at that point. All right. Well, I don't think we actually accomplished everything we wanted to, but that's okay.
No, there's so much to talk about.
There is, man. We could seriously turn this into like a whole day. And sadly, a lot of it's going to be going back and forth. Yeah, you remember that one time I was deployed. And you can tell war stories all goddamn day. Really what it come down to. But that's it. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in the military. If anyone listening to this is considering getting into any branch of the military, reach out to us. I'll gladly give as much information as I possibly can, help you make the right decision. I can't help you if you haven't taken your ASVAB. Only you can help you with that. You're either going to be good at it or you're going to suck at it. I was very fortunate that I did decent enough where they told me you can pick whatever you want. You're not limited by your ASVAB. So you're not stupid enough that you can't. I shouldn't say stupid.
I was stupid.
What was your? Do you remember your score?
I don't remember.
That's how dumb you are.
It was low.
You should have been a grunt.
No.
Jeez. But all right. So we'll wrap up this segment here, and we'll move on to. We're not going to do what did you do this week. We're going to skip that this week, and we're going to introduce a brand new segment that is going to end every episode. We're going to do this every episode, and we need your guys' help for this. So. It's going to be called the Co-Driver of the Week. So every week, I'd like you all to write in at beardeddetailer.com/gearshift or gearshiftpodcast@gmail.com or Instagram or Facebook. However you can reach us, there's multiple ways to do it. Reach out to us. Send us a little, submit us something nice. And the whole premise is the Co-Driver of the Week is going to be anyone who has inspired or supported you in your automotive endeavors. Anything. It could be someone who got you into cars. It could be someone who has helped you religiously with cars, or someone who has just supported you emotionally with your vehicles. So someone inspirational. Write us a little story. Don't write anything that you wouldn't want aired globally. That's all. That's all I got to say about that. But that's it. So write in every single week, and it'll be the Co-Driver of the Week, and we'll cheers to you. I'm going to start this one off, since obviously we have nothing to go off of. I'll start this one off, and I'm going to nominate my dad, Walter Ambrose. Walter is a hell of a guy. Oddly enough, not a car guy. We would find that kind of weird that as a car guy, my dad was not a car guy. But I'm not giving him the Co-Driver of the Week because he got me into cars. What I'm doing this for is because of his work ethic and his mentality of doing it right the first time. I know you all have heard me say on the show, do it right or do it twice. And there's a reason for that. My dad has been a woodworker his entire life. He's done a numerous amount of different jobs. He actually sold cars for a while too. But very, very crafty. He can build almost anything. His father was a plumber, so we have a lot in our family for what for what has been passed down over each generation here. So my shout out is for his work ethic and being able to push me to do whatever I want to do as long as I put my mind to it. And if I'm going to do it, you don't half-ass anything. I think that's how he really put it to me earlier on. Don't half-ass anything. Do it right. Go full ass. And I've taken that mentality to school, for college, in the military, and to owning a car, now owning a house. I still call my dad. I still call him almost every day, either whether it's just a bullshit or if I need advice on something. Yeah, I could Google it. But honestly, there's going to be that personal touch asking your parent for something. And I've also taken it into owning my own business too. I'm trying to do everything right the first time. I'm going to make mistakes, absolutely. But doing it right or doing it twice. I don't like doing things twice. Except eat. I love eating. So is my dad. My dad's a good food guide too.
I could totally go for some food.
I definitely could too. But anyway, so this week's co-driver of the week is Walter, my dad, Walter Ambrose. So this one's for you, Dad. I love you. Cheers. Our glasses are empty, but I'm going to pretend like I'm drinking anyway. So. And that's it. That's it for episode 11. This one went a little long, but that's okay. It's a good long. All right. Well, Ryan, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I look forward to maybe having you again in the future. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
The world may never know. There's no way to know if that's going to happen or not. Stick around. Next week is going to be episode 12, and it's going to be about trucks.
Trucks.
Pick 'em up, trucks.
Truck. Yeah.
We're going to talk about Red Man and some Copenhagen, maybe some Skull. Don't know, but we're gonna have we're gonna put a chaw in. Get our spit cups. Yeah.
Tell you what.
Are you a Levi man? Do you wear Levi's?
Nah, I'm a Wrangler.
You're a Wrangler guy. Oh, I knew I liked you for some reason. You're a Wrangler man.
But right now I'm wearing Old Navy.
I'm wearing American Eagle because it's got the word America right in it. So tune in next week at 8 a.m. Be sure to write in for the co-driver of the week, and also do a better job at the intro contest this time, guys. Yeah, you guys failed me last time. No one got it right, so do it better this time. And that's it. So I'm going to say on behalf of Casper, since he's not here, we appreciate you guys coming and supporting us. Be sure to like and comment and share, and like and comment and share. Let other people know. Let other people decide if they're going to like this show or not. Don't make that decision for them. Share this shit. Share it. Let them listen. And if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please sure to let us know. Leave us a review on iTunes. Thank you for coming, Ryan.
Hey, thank you for having me.
I love you.
I love you too.
And until next week, I'm Christoph, and this has been Gear Shift. Gear Shift Podcast is a production of Gear Shift. If you have any questions, please email us at gearshiftpodcast@gmail.com or visit us on Facebook.